I'm Martyn, and welcome to the latest PopBucket podcast. With me today is James.
Hello.
And Michael.
Hi.
How you all doing today, chaps? Keeping well?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. And yourself?
Yeah, not bad. Last week, me and Mike had a rather good gaming session
An
with
old
another friend, old school one.
Yep.
What was it? NHL
08, was it?
08, yeah, 2008 one. And Virtual Tennis 3, a bit of
Yeah.
classic.
Is that
was that
a Dreamcast one?
No, it was on the Dreamcast, but the third one, I think, was 2007, 8, he came out. So it was fairly early in the console cycle, but we had a good laugh playing that, actually. Me and Mike and other friends back at school, we did actually really enjoy our tennis games.
I used to like a Virtual Tennis,
yeah.
Smash Court Tennis, I think.
Smash Court, that was it.
Yeah, Anna Kournikova Smash Court Tennis, that was the one. On the PS2, I think.
Yeah, that would have been,
insanely playable. Like, tennis games have always been one of those games that you just can't put down once you start. It's like incredibly addictive, especially against the CPU, which is always hard as nails.
Did you ever play table tennis, Rockstar's table tennis?
No, I never played that, actually. I was going to pick it up on the Wii.
Very good fun, actually.
I heard that was good. But no, I never got around to playing that. And NHL 08, I used to play ice hockey game when I was younger. But it's when you're at that age where you just mash buttons and not do anything not much different from now.
Like now, that's what I was thinking.
But we had to work out the rules when playing NHL. We sort of did the very basics, but we kept getting offside. And it was
why am I offside?
Trial and error to work out it was offside and how.
Something to do with this blue line across the ice.
That was quite good fun, though.
Sounds far too realistic. When I was a kid playing like ice hockey games, like the main aim was just to try and get into a brawl.
Yeah. Try and get into a body check.
What was it, Mike? That salmon dive we found.
There's a dive that you can do where you just throw yourself onto your belly to block a shot, but you can do it and take someone out by doing it as well.
It was NHL's equivalent to This Is Football's two-footed tackle.
Yeah, basically,
Kamikaze move.
Yeah.
As soon as we discovered what buttons did that, there were a lot of penalties going against us, I have to say. A lot of sin bin, I think they call it. We were in the sin bin quite a lot. But yeah, lot of fun. I scored 2 goals. Yeah,
you did. Mike was the only puck scorer.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Man of the match.
Or is that baseball? I don't know. Anyway,
I think that is
good.
ice hockey that popped up. But anyway, we've all been really busy reviewing games this past week, or just done, or in the middle of it. Mike, your review's already up. Why don't you talk us about WWE 2K14?
Yeah. Well, at this point in the series, it's been going obviously for quite a while. The previous developer, THQ, are no longer active. So it got taken over like midway through development by 2K, which is the new studio. So you can forgive a little bit because it's not as polished as you'd think. Basically, there's a lot of great modes like you normally get. There's a Road to WrestleMania mode with like Andre the Giant and Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan, and like I'm sure there's people out there who'll know those names and be getting the same sort of pangs of nostalgia that I got when I played. It's really enjoyable. Exactly. And but the problem is with the game, they've fine-tuned the countering, but they've kind of bodged it. So now the countering is you have to be split second perfect, and it really means that if you're in a fight, say with the AI, and you mess up the counter like 4 or 5 times in a row, that's 4 or 5 moves that the computer's got on you, and it's really hard to get back into the match, and it's quite frustrating. And also, the weapons don't have, like, if you hit someone with a steel chair, I know it's fake, obviously, but if you hit someone with a steel chair, you expect some sort of impact, but it doesn't really register. And like the slams, like the suplexes and the grapples, they all feel, boom, they got an oomph. But the kicks and the punches just feel like weak and feeble. They do damage, but it doesn't feel like they do damage. if you,
I was
if
about to
you
make a joke
sort
about
of-
your punching ability, right?
yes, yeah. The only time I ever actually punched someone, I came off worse. My hand, I've still got the scar where my hand caught someone's teeth and cut open. But yeah, so
You're a lover, not a fighter. You know, that's not.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
So,
neither. But no, the thing with the game is, I would still recommend as a multiplayer experience the WWE series. Just the only reason you would get 2K14 is if you wanted the current roster. Otherwise, if you want a multiplayer experience, I would just go out and buy one of the previous ones in the series because it'll have better collision detection and you won't get annoyed. So that's my advice anyway.
does it have Degeneration X? This one?
I don't think it's not doing the Attitude Era. So I don't think...
I think the last one might have done it.
The last one did
because
Attitude,
the last one did Attitude Era. This one is Road to WrestleMania. So this one goes back kind of further into history. Yeah. I'm not sure whether DX is in it or not, but there is certainly...
That was kind of my era, actually. I was a DX boy.
Yeah, mine too.
The New Age Outlaws.
Oh, you didn't know? Anyway, what have you been reviewing, Mr. James?
I have been reviewing Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It arrived a little bit late, so I'm kind of playing a bit of catch-up with it, but I've absolutely loved it, to be honest. I mean, you guys know I'm a massive fan of the series, but actually this, I think, is such a departure from sort of previous games. It's just blown me away, really. We had kind of, I think in Assassin's Creed 3, they kind of teased and they gave you a little taster of kind of the naval expeditions and the naval warfare and sort of, you know, taking your ship out to kind of do battle with kind of other kind of vessels on the sea, which was quite cool and a bit of exploration. But what they've done in Black Flag is actually open that out into kind of an open world situation. So you actually, quite early on in the game, you get your own ship and you sort of build up your crew. And then you can really just take your ship out on the high seas and just, you know, travel wherever you want, really. And there's all kinds of fun activities to do. So there's kind of, you find like maps around and do sort of kind of find hidden treasures and things like this. And you can go on sort of raids on kind of sugar plantations and things like that to kind of build up your crew and steal kind of resources and stuff like that. So it's very good. Very, very good. Good fun. But in terms of the story, it's kind of, in some ways, it feels a little bit like you're starting from scratch. I won't say too much about spoilers because I know some people might not have played the last game and been, I guess, therefore privy to some of the kind of the big revelations at the end of it. But it's kind of, I guess, the story outside of in sort of the modern day is kind of starting over a little bit. We're looking at a few new characters and what they're getting up to in the present day, and it's very interesting. I can see it kind of moving forward quite nicely in sort of coming series, but
sort of an overarching theme for the whole sort of series of games.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, it's obviously moving away from sort of Desmond Miles, who we followed since, you know, the very, very start of Assassin's Creed, and I guess with that you lose a bit of sort of backstory and a few kind of well-known characters, but you know, it's fantastic. The combat is fantastic. Some of the side pursuits are really, really fun as well. So yeah, big thumbs up from me.
Yeah, I'm not too aware of the overall back of real life side of Assassin's Creed 4, but from what I gathered, pieced together, it seems like they can do quite a lot of completely separate installments. It's like, rather than an overarching story, they can just pick and choose different areas they want to go to. Fancy. I imagine that's how they can use that new...
Yeah, formula. That's right. I mean, they've done it quite well in that every character you play sort of in history is basically someone's ancestor. So you're drawing from sort of the memories from their DNA to actually access, you know, their life and times and see what they got up to. So yeah, I mean the possibilities are endless really, because everyone's got ancestors and they've all got history, and you know there's a huge sort of backstory about the assassins and the Templars throughout kind of the ages. But yeah, I mean it gives them a lot of scope to to look at different areas of sort of history, which is really good.
Yeah, well, hopefully I'm going to start playing Assassin's Creed 4 today or tomorrow, like this weekend. Now I've finished Battlefield 4, which I'll talk about in a minute. I'm really looking forward to Assassin's Creed 4. It's much more. I knew I was going to get a bit of fun out of Assassin's Creed 3, but from this very first screenshot and trailer, it's always looked far more up my street and more interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it was. I really, really liked Assassin's Creed 3. But there was something about Connor as a character who I didn't really gel with, and it might have been maybe because he was a bit younger and I think he was a bit of a twat in part, really. He was kind of a bit hot-headed, where you sort of, I think if you're used to sort of Ezio in the previous games and Altair, they were quite level-headed, and I think Connor was a bit more brash, a bit more kind of driven by emotion, I think. But the new character, Edward Kenway, who is Connor's grandfather, I think. So it's obviously set before that period of time. He's really likable. He's a true sort of pirate captain, and he's
sort of lovable rogue type.
Yeah, lovable rogue is right. Yeah, he's not sort of he's not a silly kind of Jack Sparrow type pirate captain, but he's a fair and just master. Yeah, it's good.
Cool. Yeah, go look forward to reading about your musings on that title.
That's
right.
What's you're very on Coredio Review. Have we done much diving yet? Sort of, because obviously in Grand Theft Auto 5 you could get the submarine and all the seabed, and like Assassin's Creed 4 can do that all now.
You can, I mean, there's with your ship you get like a number of upgrades that you can do. So you can upgrade something sort of called harpooning. So you basically get these harpoons on your ship, and you can go whaling or looking for like bull sharks and things like that, which is great fun. Quite a nice little pursuit. But you can also get sort of it's a diving bell, so it's a really old-fashioned kind of diving device which you use to kind of go exploring underwater. And it's a great pursuit. You unlock it sort of, I think it's probably about sort of a third of the way into the game, because it's sort of unavailable at the start. But it's another great thing to do, and it's a useful way to kind of get treasures and things like that. So it is good fun. I didn't have a go on the GTA diving yet, actually, but I think my submarine's grounded. I haven't managed to get it back into the water yet.
It's quite good fun, but there's so much in Grand Theft Auto 5 that I've had to sort of skip it because I've had other things to review. I still only done the first mission online. I'm waiting for the next patch, once it's fully done and dusted, to be fixed.
In a way,
giving me jip.
When you've got a big game like that, in a way though, that's one of the pleasures of it, is being able to dip back into it after a period of time and still have loads of stuff to be able to explore in it. Like you can take it very much at your own pace.
It's true, yeah. I put GTA down, I think, for the first time actually when I started reviewing Assassin's Creed, and I didn't feel a sadness because I've not even gotten to the end of the story mode yet of GTA, but I thought, well, I'm quite looking forward to going back to it, and I'm not going to go back to it just yet, but I know it's all there, sort of waiting for me. Yeah. It's the same with Skyrim. I still haven't finished all the missions there, and I think, well, one day.
One day.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
If I ever break my leg or anything.
Yeah.
Hours of fun.
One campaign that you won't be going back to again and again is Battlefield 4. It's perfectly serviceable. It does the trick, but it's
short, I would imagine, because you haven't had it for long, so
5 hours ish. It's only 7 missions. In the campaign, and it's probably 4 or 5 hours, and actually properly time it. It's not long. You don't buy Battlefield for the single player, but it's in there, and it has to be rated on the fact it's a short, pretty average 5 hour 7 level campaign. So that was disappointing. Better than the third campaign though. The 3 was terrible. I hated it. I didn't even finish it.
Really?
Was it? Yeah. I'll talk about it in the review. I stopped it because I got rage quit at one mission, and went back to it like a few weeks later, and in the meantime, an update had been installed or something like that, and the single player mode wouldn't load up. It just crashed on my game. And
Shit.
I told EA about that, and they never got it fixed. They weren't sure what it was at first, because it's like looking for a server, but it was online. It was offline, and I could never actually complete it.
That's really bad.
Yeah, it's actually not that bad. It's terrible.
I didn't hear about that. Was that a common issue, or was it
No,
just a Newton issue?
It was just a Newton issue.
What?
EA never managed to fix it. To be honest, it's terrible, that campaign.
Yeah.
So
it's dreadful, yeah.
But multiplayer though is immense, as you'd imagine.
Yeah.
Well worth a purchase, I'd say. If you can hold out, I would for next gen versions. I've only got the PS3 version at the moment, obviously, and it is really good fun. But with 3 times more players, roughly, in the next gen versions, it's going to be much better. It's going to be fun.
Yeah,
a bit more carnage.
More carnage, more planes flying around, more targets to shoot. Because it still feels a little bit sparse at times at some points on some of the levels. And there are a few graphical issues which will hopefully be fixed in the next gen versions.
Yeah, I think I'll probably make that my primary multiplayer game for a while on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Do you think some of the levels are too big for 16 players then?
It's 24 actually, I think.
24, is it?
Yeah, it's 24. So it's quite a bit bigger than Call of Duty Ghosts, considering they've reduced the number of players down to 12 now.
But you've not had any problems with, like, you played a map and you thought, well, I've not engaged anyone for ages here.
No, it's still quite a bit of action, but it's just going to be more like a proper Battlefield to an extent, if you know what I mean. When it's like 64 people, really going all at it. That's just going to be so much fun, I imagine.
It's a lot of mayhem, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same with Titanfall's. It's going to have that many players on the next gen as well, which I think. From the demo that we played at Eurogamer, I can't really imagine that many players being in that space at one time. I think it'd just be nuts.
It just worked very well, and I tried being a sniper. I don't normally ever play the sniper in games, but I was doing it, and it's like, imagine with 3 times more people, I've actually got a target I can hit. I just get bored too quickly.
You've got to have a lot of patience for that, haven't you?
Yeah.
I've done the sniper in sort of, I think I did it quite a lot in Battlefield 2, Bad Company 2, I think.
Yeah.
And you've got to have a bit of patience, but it's quite rewarding actually when you get it done.
It's got bullet drag, hasn't it? Not to get too nerdy, but like it's actually got proper physics Battlefield, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So like you have to like account for where you're aiming from, whether you're on a higher plane. Like
that's it. Yeah.
Sure do.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it is good. It's just I'm not the right player for that, and
I can't imagine you having the patience to be a sniper, to be honest.
No.
I could see you as more of a Rambo,
tank driver.
There with your
I do tend to be liking the tank.
Yeah,
I try not. I do play differently. I do try and play Battlefield properly. I don't go Call of Duty and just run around trying to knife people around corridors. I do play it properly and sit and jump out and sometimes weld the tank again if I'm that class. Stuff like that. I do play it properly.
Yeah,
but, I think
you've got so many options with Battlefield, haven't you, as to what you do.
Yeah.
And you can just mix it up on the fly. So you might not be getting on very well as a sniper, and you think, well, actually, I'll do a bit of demolition.
Yeah.
Throw some C4 about, see what happens.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth a purchase. Still one of the best multiplayer experiences on console. So,
before I forget, can I just say, World of Tanks is coming to Xbox 360. I really want that because I've played. My mate's got it on his PC. I played it. It's really fun. It's like one of those games that it's a simple like capture the base thing where you've got 2 teams. They've got tanks and artillery, whatever. But it's just so addictive. You get like sucked in, and you just lose hours to that game.
We should get on there. Actually, it's a free to play, isn't it? And they were demoing it a little bit at Eurogamer, and it did look quite good. I mean, I think it was at E3 they were doing the original announcement for it, And there's a beta on it at the moment, isn't there? But
yes, yeah, I've applied for that, but unfortunately, they haven't got back to me.
What?
I know.
They know who you are.
Poor Mike. Yeah, I know. I felt like saying, "Do you know who I am?" But is it going to be free to play on the 360 as well, though?
I think it
is on the 360. Yeah, I don't. Is it coming to Xbox One as well?
I don't think so.
That would be
it's
sweet.
just 360.
We should all snap that up if it's free to play on the 360.
Yeah, quite. Is it? I'll just imagine it's like the Battle of Kursk, just like loads of tanks like facing down at each other and just like.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like you get a terrain map. There's several different terrain maps, and you have a base at the north and south end of each map, and you either win by eliminating all the enemy tanks, or by getting your tank into the enemy base and sort of holding it and capturing it.
Yeah.
And it's much more. It's like you can't go Rambo, as we were talking about earlier. You have to kind of be a bit crafty and like use cover and like draw people out, and so the matches are quite tactical, but at the same time they're never boring because you've got, I don't know, 16 tanks on either side, like roughly about that, going at each other. So it's always fun. So looking forward to that.
I like the sound of that. I do like the sound of that.
There's certainly worse sounding games.
It's imagine like Panzerfront, if you can remember that, but multiplayer. That's kind of what we're talking about.
Is it first person?
It is when you go into aiming, but it's third person. Okay. You're sort of driving around.
Cool. I had a game on the N64. It was like an import called, I think it was just called Tanks, actually, original, which was a bit like that. Yeah, that was quite. Oh, I have to look that up. Actually, that was a good little game. Well, let's do it.
Nostalgia Fest.
That sounds good. Moving away from games, have you watched any good films or TV shows?
I watched a bad film. Or I watched part of a bad film.
I want to hear about this.
Jack the Giant Slayer.
Oh,
have
yeah.
you seen that at
all? I know
all?
of it.
No,
we quite fancied
Bryan
it.
Singer, isn't it? Director, Nicholas Hoult, star.
Yeah, is that the guy from Skins?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
The guy who was Dick in Skins, that's him, yeah.
He was a bit of a dick in Skins, yeah. Filmed in Bristol. Oh. But, it's got him, it's got Ewan McGregor and some other people of note. But, we quite fancied it, actually. We wanted to go and see it at the cinema, because the trailers made it look quite passable, but we never got around to it, so we watched it the other night on Love Film, and gave up about 40 minutes in. The acting was absolutely shocking. The graphics, terrible. But yeah, I don't know how they got away with actually making a film, which obviously had a bit of a budget, but was really just going nowhere, to be honest. You had kind of Ewan McGregor, who was kind of playing the king's top man, sort of this kind of knight. But he spoke like an English gent from the 30s. So everything he said was, tally ho, oh boy, that's not how to climb a beanstalk. I was like, what? So we turned off, I think, when they got to climbing the beanstalk, which wasn't very far in. But it was shocking. I wouldn't recommend it.
Because it had middling kind of review. It didn't have bad reviews. It had sort of like 3-star, I would say, is how I remember the film sort of going over in like Total Film and Empire and stuff like that. So I'm surprised to hear that it's that bad. But
it didn't last at the cinema because like I think we tried to go and see it in like the first 2 weeks and it had already left the box office, and we were like, oh, that's strange. Wonder why that was. Now we know.
Oh,
so that was my film viewing. I rewatched a bit of Game of Thrones. That was quite good, actually.
Oh, nice. Michael, James sent me a dubbing of.
Yes, thanks for that, by the way, James.
I sent that to Mike as well. The old bad lip reading.
I love that.
That's hilarious.
That's brilliant. I love that. Jay, what was it? Who made it?
It's a group called Bad Lip Reading. So they do sort of a couple of different bits and pieces. I think it's fairly new, to be honest. They did like Twilight, they've done Game of Thrones, and I think they did. They might have done one of the Star Treks, but they basically take footage from like popular series, look at the lip sync, and then sort of overdub kind of words that kind of go with the lip syncing. So for comedy effect, of course.
Yeah, because Game of Thrones ones was like they're opening up a medieval theme park, aren't they? Like a medieval Disneyland. It was really funny. I like Joffrey's one. That made me laugh when he perked up.
I like to get freaky.
So yeah, you should check that out. Was it Bad Lip Reading on YouTube?
Yeah, bad lip reading.
I'm gonna try and keep an eye on those guys.
You've got some, I mean, they've given them all different names, haven't they? So like Tyrion's, like they've called him like Terry.
Yeah.
What's Ed Stark's? They've called him like Eddie or something like that. So it's really funny. And you've got Peter, Petey. My jam, Holmes.
It is very good. It's definitely worth a watch.
It's not just what they say; it's the voices as well that they do is really funny. So definitely worth it.
It works so well as well, doesn't it? Like some of it is actually really, really believable.
You look at it and you think that actually does fit what the lip syncing. I could imagine that's what's being said. Yeah, even if it's like something like, do you like people who say Hadouken, which is the one that got me.
That was class. I was reading about apparently there's a Game of Thrones porno called Game of Bones. Winter is coming. That's all I know, but it sounded hilarious. Well, Martyn, I thought you might know a bit about it, being in the industry.
I haven't. You're making me out. Yeah. You're making me out like some Paul Raymond now.
No, I've literally only just heard about it. It sounded quite fun, but I'm sure it's fun.
So was it Game of Bones? I'm going to write this down and do some research. Hang on, let me.
Yeah, research. Yeah.
Let me do this down. There we are. That's done. Thank you for that, James. I've been watching The Walking Dead. That started up again.
Oh yeah.
For a bit of zombie action. All good fun. Liking it.
What series is that? Is that a new series?
4. That's just started on Fox. That's all good fun. I think I don't know if you've ever read the comics, but we've always said, me and the wife, like at times like this, diseases will start making a comeback. Cholera, diphtheria, just like when there's tainted water supplies and things like that. It's like we haven't talked about things like that, or just sort of general diseases, like if someone has ME or MS, sort of things like that, like they don't have any medicines. I think they need to do some of that. I'm not sure if they're starting to allude to that in the new series, but that's a common thing, like common survival. It's like no medicines around anymore. It's like how someone with debilitating disease or someone that contracts a disease.
Well, it's true, and like bad nutrition as well, because you're not going to have all the healthy food on offer that you would normally. And
so they would have a threat of zombies trying to eat their brains from inside, and something inside them eating them from inside out, like some scurvy, or some sort of parasite. So that's what I thought was interesting. So
you need to get in touch with the the showrunners, Mike, because I think that could actually be quite an interesting sort of twist to the series. Like, not only are they coping with like zombies everywhere, but food, provisions, and like medical supplies. Because like I saw, I don't know if you ever heard of a series called Survivors. They did a remake of it like recently on ITV. I think it wasn't. It was rubbish, but it was on the BBC originally. I think I could be wrong.
A bit of that, I think. Was that
you can catch the original 1970s version on YouTube. I forget what I saw, but some guy's channel on YouTube. But it's called Survivors, and basically it's like the idea that a virus is spread and wiped out, I don't know, 3/4 of the world's population, and it follows the survivors as they kind of, try and not restore order, but just try and survive, basically, as the title implies. And it's really good. Some really awesome 1970s sweaters as well in the version I saw. Like sweaters that you think, we're talking about viruses, it looked like a virus had just spread up into the cotton wool and just warped it into the worst possible colour combination ever. But apart from that being slightly off-putting, really well written. I think Terry Nation is the script writer, and he's done Doctor Who and various other things, and he's a very good script writer. So it's definitely worth if you've got about half an hour to spare, go on YouTube, find that, not the god awful remake, and give it a watch because I really enjoyed it.
Oh, that's cool.
It's cool.
Right, we're gonna have to spin on, chaps, to our podcast question of the week. We need a jingle there, actually, don't we?
That'll
do.
Yeah, I'll
Thank
get composing.
Right. I'm not editing it in. We just have to hum it or something like that, James.
Yeah.
Too much work.
Someone actually asked me the other week, like, who composed the theme tune for your podcast? And I was like, oh, well, since you ask. I was like, why? Do you like it? They were like, yeah, it's all right. I was like, oh, all right, okay, cheers.
Oh, you'll be like Charlie Sheen's character in 2.5
Everything.
Men.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be that guy.
Anyway, question time. You may remember from last week, 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean. Right, the question is, you're putting on a night at your house and you're going to watch a film and play a game with 3 celebrities. What film would you put on and what game would you play? And who would be your 3 celebrities? The game, remember, has to play 4 players at the same time. So, who wants to kick off? Me? You? Mike?
You kick off, mate.
You can kick off, Mike.
Right, I kick off, right. Let me say, the celebrities I'm going to bring round. Arnie. He's going to be there.
Nice.
Well, I knew Arnie was going to be in your list.
Of course he had to be in my list.
Yeah.
We do it now.
Wonderful impression, Mike.
Thanks.
Kaylee Cuoco, or Cuoco, not how you pronounce her surname. Penny from The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And Ricky Gervais, he'll be there.
Gervais.
I was going to think of having Cole Pilkington, because I'd like to pick his brain and talk to him, but he probably wins too much. And so I thought of Ricky Gervais, because then I can ask him about Cole Pilkington. As well as Ricky Gervais himself, I'd like to have a good conversation with him, I reckon. So I thought that's a good mix there. Sort of good mixture of different sort of... Actually, we're all actors, aren't they? That's interesting.
Yeah,
And,
interesting.
Yeah.
What would the film that you would all watch together be?
It would be Terminator 2, so Arnie would be enjoying himself and that.
There you go. As you see, normally actors don't like to watch themselves in movies, but Arnie's one of the ones I could imagine wouldn't have a problem with that.
He'd just be narrating it all the way through.
That bit there, that was the best. I'm not even going to do the voice now because it's embarrassing. But he'd be like, "That bit there, that's the best bit." No, that's and I'm amazing in this bit here. Arnie, if you're listening, don't really mean it. You're great. Sorry.
Yeah. You say, I don't know if I've told you this before, but I did all my own stunts.
I'll just picture in my mind, it's like we start talking about Terminator 2, and he'll just say, like Alan Partridge, you're getting Terminator wrong. Just like how Bond does. It's like, no, and Arnie then goes in, does the theme tune, goes dum 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 in his Austrian accent, and just starts off, it's dark and things like that. And, it opens up with the theme.
It's futuristic, isn't it? Also,
is it the park, and then it pans over to the skulls, and then there's...
Yeah.
There could be a feature in that, Mike. Just you describing the openings to movies, and we have to guess what the movie is.
Actually, I quite like that idea.
There you go.
Not a bad idea.
Right. Okay. Opening. Yeah, I like that.
Let's write that down.
Stop getting films wrong, Martyn. That means I'm gonna have to watch films now. Like, just to make
just the first 5 minutes, really.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, I quite like that. I might have to do that next
week. There you
go. Okay.
Write it down under Game of Bones.
Yeah, it's under the Game of Bones. Watch films opening and describe.
I can't believe I can believe they called it Winter Is Coming, but at the same time I think, God, that's so obvious.
Yeah, but they're not exactly known for their intellect, are they? Like the porn industry. If they'd have come up with a wittier, it's not going to change what the product is if they come up with a wittier title.
No, it's true. Anyway, back to Terminator.
So yes, back to Terminator. We'll watch that. That'll be classic. Have a few drinks of that. That'll see the night in perfectly. And game, I had quite a few options, but I whittled it down to Left 4 Dead 2.
It's a
I
good,
like
good
I
four
like
player.
good 4-player games, classic, simple yet complex. Bit of cooperative action. I thought it will go down really well, that game.
Good bit of teamwork. Yep.
With with 4 of us. All different sort of personalities. I think one would be the helper. Arnie can go all out, sort of be out with a shotgun, taking on the tank and stuff like that. Ricky Gervais would be there, picking off a smoker and the spitters. And Katie Quaker, she'll probably be the helpful, sorting out healing and keeping close quarters and stuff like that, I imagine.
Nice.
I think that would be an awesome night.
Oh, that would be a good night.
I'll probably put on some pizzas, a bit of garlic bread as well. It'll be
can't go wrong with garlic bread. It's the future, as they say.
It's the future, sure is. So that'll be my night in.
That sounds like a very, very classy night, Martyn.
Thank you. That's good. So, James, can you beat that in terms of class, or are you going down the sleazy route?
Well, I don't know if I can beat that. Well, I don't know actually. It's kind of it starts classy. I think it starts classy. My 3 invitees would be Sean Bean, because he's awesome, and I think he'd be quite fun to play a game with actually, because he's got give you a bit of northern banter. So if you were to sort of to kill him while you're playing a game, you go, "Oh, you slug, it," and I'm gonna have you for that. And you know I love Sean Bean, so you can't do. So Sean Bean would be my first guest. I think Matt Berry as well. I'd invite Matt Berry. He's good for comedy.
Is this Matt Berry, the guy out of Garth Marenghi's Dark Place?
Yeah,
you two were friends.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I know him.
He's got the most comedy voice. He does the voiceover for Worms. One of the Worms games, one of the latest Worms games.
Good
and
choice.
He's in like the It Crowd and stuff like that as well. He's pretty funny. I think he'd add comedy value to a night. And my last guest would be Snoop Dogg, because apparently he's a big gamer, so he might put up a decent challenge when we're having a little session. Plus, he could write a rap about us playing a game, or about me beating him in a game. Well, that'd be good. But yeah, I'm sure he's a fun guy.
You're quite demanding, James. Not only do you want to beat someone at a game, you then want them to write a rap in your honour of beating them afterwards.
It's a small ask in exchange for my hospitality.
There you go, Snoop. You've been told.
Yeah, if you're listening, Snoop, get the pen out.
Yeah.
Right. Films-wise, I didn't really think too hard on films, but I thought The Godfather, because it's long enough to get into. Yeah, it's a decent film, and just a classic, really. Plus, you can have a few glasses of wine, a few cigars, and just mellow. And the game, finally, I thought Bomberman would be a good choice for a 4-player game.
Lovely.
But none of this modern Bomberman. I'm talking about old school.
Yeah.
Sega Genesis Bomberman, or maybe even earlier actually. But,
I downloaded one on the Wii U, the Virtual Console. I
did
it for Christmas with my 2 brothers, because we loved Bomberman when we were younger.
Yeah.
It's so immense fun. It's the most simple game around, pretty much.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Just like explosion goes out in 4 directions, but it just is so much fun, especially when you get a bit close. You're just running around. When you get the power up, you get bigger flames.
Was your version the one that had like bomb diarrhea and like all the negative power ups as well?
Yeah. Or the one where the controls sort of reverse themselves, so you don't left is right and right is left. Especially when you're in a panic. That was devious. That. But no, it is as you say, Martyn. It is the most simple thing. Like me and my cousins used to play it all the time when I was younger. But once you start to power up a little bit, you're not quite sure how far the enemy explosions are going to go.
Yeah.
Chaos ensues, but
it's when you sort of cower sometimes, don't you? It's like, I don't know where to go. Especially when it's for 4 players, especially, because it just gets too crazy. It's almost like an aneurysm. He can't cope. It's too much stress.
Oh, that's a quote for the box.
It's almost an aneurysm.
Oh, right.
So yeah, that would be my classy night in.
I like it. I like both your nights in so far. I don't know if mine can compete, but here's what I came up with. Okay, so the three people I would invite. First of all, I've got an actor. I've got two actors anyway, but the first one I would invite would be Cate Blanchett, because she's the best actor ever in the history of acting, in my opinion. And I'd quite like to ask her a few questions and have a glass of wine and play some games with her later on. Computer games, that is. I sound like Alan Partridge.
That did sound like a pickup line.
Aha! No, I would also invite Iggy Pop as well, because, obviously it's got to be a lively evening, and I think Mr. Iggy could provide that. And my final choice would be Robert De Niro, because he's Robert De Niro.
Enough said.
Enough said. The film that I would pick for us to watch would be The Big Lebowski. Because I love that film, and any excuse to watch that film is a good excuse. The game I play, I've narrowed it down to 3, and of those 3, it's Wii U Rayman the football minigame, which Martyn knows, which I really enjoyed, Crash Team Racing, and Micro Machines. I'm not sure what the name of the game was, but it was a Mega Drive one, and you could have up to 4 people on screen at the same time.
2 people on 2 controllers, wasn't it? Or
yes,
2 people on 1 controller. Oh, that was classic.
And I've gone for Micro Machines in the end, because that you can't beat classic playability. I think Iggy would get quite competitive as well, so it could get quite lively. Yeah. So I'd enjoy that.
You'd get quite angry, I think, if you rammed him off the edge of a table or something like that.
Yes.
Down the hole on the pool table or something like that.
I would probably put away most of the valuable stuff in my place before. But yeah.
That's cool. Mark, I just want to ask, Cate Blanchett, what film did you like her most in then?
I was wondering about that.
Your favourite actress? It's like that surprised me off.
Favourite actor, full stop. I like her in a lot of stuff. She was in the original. She was in Elizabeth, and the sequel, Elizabeth: The Golden Age, which isn't as good. You have to see the original. It's possibly one of the best performances I've seen, bar none, by an actor. She was also in the Bob Dylan thingamabob. I can't remember what the hell it's called now. But
that was Hayden Christensen.
Hayden Christensen was in. Not Hayden Christensen. What's his name? Heath Ledger.
Not There is a film.
I'm Not There. That's the one.
Right.
She played Bob Dylan, and she was the most convincing portrayal of Bob Dylan.
She played Bob Dylan.
She did, yeah. That tells you how good an actor she is, that she can play a male role, and her portrayal is possibly the best thing in the entire movie. So that completely sort of knocked me over.
I'm just looking up images of her as Bob Dylan.
Yeah. It's like it is really convincing. She's got the mannerisms down and everything. And of course, she has the famous role in Lord of the Rings, where she plays
Galadriel.
Yes, and although she doesn't have a lot to do in that, she really manages to sell the sort of relationship between her and Viggo Mortensen's Aragorn. It's really good. Good actor.
She's in The Hobbit as well, actually. Got like a little cameo.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
She's in all 3 new Hobbit films.
Yeah. Because I know in the books,
part of the White Council, I think. But
there's not much she does around that period. But they have said they are considering writing more for her to do, which would be good. Yeah,
there's a lot of people in the Hobbit film that aren't in the Hobbit book, which is I don't see that as a bad thing. I don't see that as a bad thing at all, because they're building up kind of the lore that's kind of always existed around the Hobbit. So I don't think it's a bad thing. My only quibble is that there's no Boromir in the Hobbit, and they should rectify that. Put Mr. Sean Bean in.
Yeah, is he not going to be in any of them?
I don't think so.
I'm just looking up.
But, don't think so.
Yeah, that does surprise me. Cate Blanchett. That's interesting, Mike. Learn something new about you.
There you go.
Because I'm not someone into. Well, I like films commercially, but don't really take into account films. I don't really think about them too much.
Yeah.
in terms of acting, I just sit and watch a film. Games and stuff. I think about critically about films. I don't know.
It's just one of those things where I sat and I watched it, and it's not like I was watching it thinking, "Oh, this is the most amazing thing ever." It's only because it was so good. Obviously, it draws you in. You're drawn into the story. But then afterwards, you think that's some pretty amazing acting, really. And so, yeah.
But I've had times to pick up on some good acting, but I always pick up on a good film generally, and the vibe and the production and cinematography side of things. But acting is a bit weak in my book, I would say. I don't know why.
You just have to watch more films, really. You get it's like with anything. You become more of a. I hate to use a sort of wanky term here, but you become more of a connoisseur the more that you watch. Yeah. The more you're able to go, that's good. The one thing we can all tell, though, is when you see someone being bad, it shows.
We watch a lot of them. I can clearly work out bad acting because we watch a lot of American horror films.
It's like what James was saying earlier with the Giant Slayer. It's like when you see bad acting, you don't have to have a PhD in film to know that someone is really like.
No. It's sad, isn't it? Because it's sort of. You'd see an actor who you'd perceive as good acting really badly, and then it can only be down to direction.
Yeah,
and I think that's like the issue with Star Wars. Really, is kind of load of great actors in there acting terribly, and it's
the direction. Yeah,
it's got to be direction. But no, that's good. I've never seen the Bob Dylan film actually. So I should. The
film itself is it's a bit uneven. It's not as a finished whole. There's some stories grab you more than others because it's obviously different parts from his life. But it's worth seeing just for Kate's performance, really.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, on that more highbrow note than we tend to sometimes used to of this podcast, we'll leave it there. I'm going to develop that new feature. Guess a film.
You're welcome.
I think that could work, chaps.
I think that'd be quite good fun, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put your own unique spin on it, Martyn. I think it would be.
Let me know. I'm going to have to pick more fairly commercial films because it'll be a bit easier so people at home can play along. Because if I pick up some 1940s French film, it'd be difficult on the whole. But I think that could be quite funny. That.
There's a bloke, he's running along, he's got this gun, he's pointing at someone. Can you guess what it is yet?
Yeah, it's perfect. It's the best feature ever devised. And it works perfectly as well on like radio, audio only features. So anyway, that's it from me, and it's also goodbye. Hang on. We got competition, boys and girls.
We do.
Competition time. We've been talking about The Hobbit actually.
Yeah.
And it actually ties in very well. We have planned it like this. At the moment, to celebrate release of A Hobbit, we're giving away a huge bundle of books to 3 lucky winners. We got, how do you say Smaug actually? That's
Smaug? I think it's Smaug.
The Desolation of Smaug. Okay.
It's more fun that way.
we call him Steve for purposes of this.
The Desolation of Steve.
The Desolation of Steve, the visual companion. The annual 2014, the Chronicles Art and Design, the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings movie editions, Back to Steve again, the movie storybook, the official movie guide, and the Desolation of Steve Ultimate Sticker Book. I think that sounds good.
A lot of stuff there.
It's 7 books for you, and that's all for one winner. So 1 bundle, and we got 2 other bundles to give away. That's running until 7th November, so visit popbucket.co.uk, search Hobbit, and the competition will pop up. And you've got a really simple question to answer. What is the name of Tolkien's most famous wizard? Gandalf, Merlin, or Roy Wood? Mike, do you know who Roy Wood? I thought that was quite a good.
I know, I get the reference there, yeah, but I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to spoil it, and also I don't want to give anyone an unfair advantage.
Yes.
Yeah. So go and select it, bung in your email address, and we'll randomly pick a winner out of a special super machine we have.
Yeah.
Called Excel. And we'll contact you to get the details. So enter and good luck. And it really is goodbye from me. And it's goodbye from Michael and James as well.
Bye, guys.